أعوذ بالله من الشیطان الرجیم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم. Hello everyone. Some brothers and sisters have emailed me recently asking about alcoholic beverages. They wanted to know if it is haram or forbidden in the Quran or not. First and foremost, I want you to all know that I am not, thanks to Allah, I am not a mufti or anything. In fact, it's only Allah who gives us a verdict. As Quran says, قُلِ اللَّهُ يُفْتِيكُمْ. Say Allah issues a fatwa for you. Allah is the only entity in this world who can issue a religious decree. But let's look inside the Quran as we always do and see what Quran tells us, what Allah tells us in the Quran, because after all we believe that Quran is complete, right? So if Quran is complete, we should be able to find a very clear and definitive answer within the book, and that should not be difficult or hard to understand. Let's do a Quran study together and find out what the verdict from the Quran is about alcoholic beverages or intoxicants or liquor. So let's look at verse number 219 of chapter 2 from Surah Baqarah in the Quran. It says, they ask you about intoxicants and games of chance. So يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْخَمْرِ وَالْمَيْسِرِ. Say in both of them there is a great sin and means of profit for men, and their sin is greater than their profit. What does Allah tells us here? It says قُلْ فِيهِمَا إِثْمٌ كَبِيرٌ. It means in both of them there is grave or great sin. The word Allah uses here is the word ism. Look at that. Ethmun kabir. I want you to keep this word in mind. Please keep this in mind. Ethm. Fihema ethmun kabir. Ethm means sin. Kabir means big, huge, grave. So Allah is telling us that in alcoholic beverages there is grave sin. Ethmun kabir. Right after that Allah says وَمَنَافِعُ لِلنَّاسِ, and there are some benefits in it. And we obviously know that there are some benefits in it. In medical field, there is some benefit in it. So that's why we use it. And then Allah says, وَإِثْمُهُمَا أَكْبَرُ مِنْ نَفْعِهِمَا. It means their sin is much bigger than their benefit. Again, Allah uses the word ethm. So I want you to keep that word ethm in mind because I'm going to come back to it. Now let's look at the next verse. And this is verse 91 of chapter 5 in the Quran. It says, O you who have believed, indeed intoxicants, gamblings, stone altars, and divining arrows are but defilements. They are from the work of Satan. So then Allah commands us, avoid it. So Allah is telling us that they are the work of Satan, and then Allah commands the believers to avoid the work of Satan. So avoid it that you may be successful. So let's look at the Arabic version of it together as well. So Ya ayyuhallazina amanu innamal khamr. You see the word khamr here again. Wal maisir, wal ansab, wal azlam. Here it says rejsun. Rejs in Arabic means basically filth, dirt. So remember, rejs means filth, dirt. And then after that it says min amal shaitan, from the work of the devil. Then it says fajtanabu, so that here is referring to the rejs or amal shaitan. It's like keep away. Fajtanabu is like keep away from it. La'allakum taflihun, that you may become successful. So keep this in mind too. 590. And the next verse actually tells you why. It tells you that Satan only wants to cause between you animosity and hatred through intoxicants and gambling, and to avert you from the remembrance of Allah and from the Salah. So will you not desist? So basically, again, it's like, why don't you stop it? Why don't you stop it? So in this verse, Allah is actually telling us why He is banning alcohol. So Allah is telling us that, okay, this is the reason. So because of that, you should not be doing that. But again, from these verses, I don't think we really got the answer to the question of if alcoholic beverages are haram or not, because the word haram was not mentioned, right? Let's go back to the first verse that we looked at. What did it say about it? It says, in both of them, there is a great sin. What was the word in Arabic? Ethmun kabir. There is great sin. Ethmun kabir. And then it says, and their sin is greater than their profit. وَإِثْمُهُمَا أَكْبَرُ مِنْ نَفْعِهِمَا. It means their sin is greater than their profit. So we saw that word sin, right? Now I want to show you, Allah makes it clear for us in another verse and actually issues His decree and answers that question directly. So let's look at it together. So this is verse number 33 of chapter 7. This is a very, very important verse. And here in this verse, Allah actually tells us if alcoholic beverages are haram or not. Okay, let's read it together. It says, say, my Lord has forbidden. So if you look at the Arabic, it says, قُلْ إِنَّمَا حَرَّمَ رَبِّي. It means Allah made it haram. So the Arabic word is harama. It means Allah made it haram. Harama means made it haram. So Allah made it haram. So translation obviously is forbidden, right? So my Lord has only forbidden, and then Allah lists the things that have been forbidden. It says immoralities, fawahish. Then it says what is apparent of them and what is concealed. So we are clear. So right now we know that immoralities or fawahish are haram, right? Number one, done. Immoralities are haram. And then what is the next thing that Allah tells us? And sin. So let's look at the Arabic version just to make sure. What is the Arabic word Allah uses here for sin? Ithma. So Allah is telling us that He has actually made haram ithma. So what is es? Es means sin. So Allah has made haram the sin. So all kinds of sin are haram. So Allah is making it very clear for us that all kinds of sin are haram. Let's go back now to the verse that we just looked at in Surah Baqarah, is chapter 2. What does it tell about alcohol? It says, قُلْ فِيهَمَا إِثْمٌ كَبِيرٌ. Grave sin. So not only there is sin in it, but also the sin is great. The sin is grave. So now let's go back to that verse. What does Allah tell us? That Allah has forbidden the sin. What does that tell you? So let's look at it this way. If there is grave sin in alcoholic beverages, and if Allah has made haram or forbidden the sin, then it just makes sense that alcoholic beverages are haram or forbidden, right? According to the Quran. And thus Allah makes clear for us His verses, lest we go astray. So I am really surprised by some of the brothers that come and say that is not, alcoholic beverages are not haram. It's just not good, but they are not haram. They are haram. Allah has made them haram. Let's read this verse together one more time. قُلْ, say, إنما حرم ربي الفواحش ما ظهر منها وما بطن. Say, my Lord has only made haram the immoralities, the fawahish, what is apparent of it and what is concealed. Wal ithm, and also the ithm or the sin. And so what is ism? So it just here you have to ask your question. So ism is haram. So what is ism? And then as soon as you go to 219, you see what is ism. So one of the grave sin, grave ism, big ism is actually alcoholic beverages, because what does Allah tells us? In it there is a great sin or grave sin. And Allah also obviously acknowledges that there's some means of profit in it, but there is a grave sin in it. So if you put 2 plus 2, you can easily understand that they are actually haram and forbidden. Now in 590, 591, Allah tells us the why. I went through it for you, Please feel free to read them again. This is 590. It does tell us why. It's because it is from the work of Satan. It's rich, it's a filth, it's a dirt from the work of Satan. And uh, and basically, Allah tells us that Satan wants to cause between us animosity and hatred through intoxicants and gambling, and also to avert us from the remembrance of Allah and from the Salah. So that's the reason why alcoholic beverages are haram or forbidden. And also, there's another verse that Allah actually tells us about the benefit of alcoholic beverages. And as you know, it's one of the biggest industries in the world revolves around alcoholic beverages. You know, there's pubs, there is bars, there is clubs, you just name it. There's wine industry, there's beer industry, there's all sorts of industry. It's one of the biggest industries in the world, and also in medical field, there's a lot of benefits in it. But that's fine for those who believe in Allah, for those who believe in the Quran and follow the word of Allah. It is haram and forbidden. Absolutely no doubt about it whatsoever. If you have any more questions, please, my brothers and sisters, make comments below and I will do my best to answer them to the best of my knowledge, inshallah. Until next time, peace and blessings of Allah be on you and your families. God bless.